Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Steve Williams with the creditrepairshop.com. And in today's video, I just got my update in my email box of debt that is being released. This was an additional to the one that was already released early in the month that I had in my other video. On this one here, we got credit cards, over $18 million in credit card debt being released into the market. We have mixed with auto lending and payday lending, $23.5 million that's being released into the market. And then we have some more payday loans, personal loans, and some more credit cards, $7 million that's being released into the market. And again, what these collection agencies are going to do when people buy these types of debts is they're going to send out letters first. They're gonna invest. They'll either do it one of two ways. They're going to use the information that they get from the file, and they're going to mail out to all of the people with the addresses that comes with the file. And any of them that come back, they might go into looking up more, paying more to try to find those people. Depends on the balance amounts that was owed, and then, but the people that don't come back where they know that they're at the right address, then they'll start following up on those people and try to put more pressure on them. And so if you get letters from them, and it's going to be a letter that looks like a bill, but it's actually a letter that's going to say, this is what we think you owe from a previous collector, sometimes, or a creditor. Sometimes you won't even see who that original creditor is unless you look way at the top. They try to scare you with the letter. And so you're going to get that information in the mail. They're going to say it looks like a bill, but if you read it carefully, it's actually saying that you have a right to dispute the debt. And when you get that, you need to automatically dispute that you had nothing to do with the company that's sending you information, and you had no contract, anything, and you wish for them to cease all contact with you. 9 times out of 10, what they're going to do, especially if it's a debt that they believe that they can collect, they're going to either do the research with the original creditor and try to get that documentation, and then they'll forward you how, number one, showing you everything that you did to generate that debt, and then how they ended up getting the debt. It's either going to be a sign where the original creditor just assigns them to collect it, or they purchased it from the original creditor, or it could be an assign of an assign, which I'm starting to see a lot of, where one debt collector buys them and then they assign them out to people so they can get a little piece of whatever is collected, and they kick up to them for collecting the account. So that's what's going to happen. Now, I want to answer some quick questions. It's going to be a very short video, but I want to answer some questions about debt collection companies. You have a right to request and validate everything on how they got the debt, how they got your information. You have a right to have a cease and desist where they cannot be calling your job or calling your house. They only can communicate by mail. You have a right to do that. And then also, you should never make a phone call to them and put yourself in a situation where you might answer a question of them the wrong way. You always want to have some type of paper trail that shows what you're doing and document that you are trying to figure out if this is a debt that you should pay. Then another thing is, you should also look up statute of limitations to make sure that it's not outside of statute of limitations for your state for them coming after you for a collection account. And one way that they try to reset the date for collection to get it put back on your credit is they'll have you make a small payment. It could be as small as $1 or $5 or $10, and when they do that, it resets the availability of it being placed on your credit reports for another 7 years. So you should never make any payments. You should always do the full validation to make sure 100% that, number one, it's not past the statute of limitations for the original creditor to be able to come after you for it, and then that they followed the law if they got it assigned or if they purchased it. If they purchased it, they need to provide you all of the information about the loan, showing your signatures, everything. If they're assigned, they still have to get that from the original creditor. So now here go a few questions that I had on YouTube. One person wrote that they were 160 days late on an account, and there was no collection agency that was in between them. They were actually negotiating with the original creditor to pay the bill. They paid it off at 50%, but then the next day they looked on the credit report and it said that the account was charged off. There's an issue that I have with that, and they actually broke the law. When you are in open negotiations with a collection agency or with an original creditor, they are not allowed to make any changes other than the way that it sits on your credit reports at that time. They're not allowed to do any court proceedings or anything while you're in a conversational mode with them. Now, a lot of them might go behind your back and try to do stuff, but they actually cannot do that. If you had an attorney, it would probably make them follow that rule more, but most people don't use an attorney, and because you don't want to have that added expense, but it is against the law. So what I had told them to do was to, number one, write to each of the bureaus that this is an obsolete account and that this account was in negotiation and that it was settled. And then they're going to probably have to do that a few times, and then the bureaus will get that over to the original creditor. And then I would also come on the other side and do the same thing with that original creditor, because they did actually break the law by, not like a criminal law, but civil law, by putting that information on there while they were in negotiations. Also, another question that came from someone was talking about unverified accounts. They had 3 unverified collection accounts. This is where the debt collection company sent them letters, and they said that they owed for 3 collection accounts. They didn't know anything about those accounts. They didn't recognize even they didn't state. I had asked them to make sure, but to look on the paperwork to see where they maybe had originated from. But from what they said, they didn't even get that information. So that the first step is, just like I said earlier in the video, is you want to do a full validation. If they cannot produce that information, they will wipe those right off and they will cease to go after any collections on there. Here's another one where a person said that they had some problem at their job. They're not able to work right now and they're falling behind on their bills, and they were wondering what are some of the things they can do. What you can do is you can call each of your creditors, each of them, and this includes your credit card companies, mortgage, anyone that you have loan or credit with, and you ask for the hardship department, and you ask to have some type of payment deferral. A lot of the companies will give you either 1 month minimum, 30 days, where they'll put that payment, and they're gonna still add the interest, but they're gonna put that on the back of the loan. But car companies and mortgage companies, they'll give you 2, 3, 4, 5. I've even seen 6 months where you don't have to make a payment. They put it on the back. And what I always tell my clients to do is save that money, pay off some of your debt, get your house in order from whatever you do have coming in, and then so you're able, once you start meeting those dates where the payments start rolling back around, you'll be in a better position to be able to move forward. So if you have any questions about credit repair, please visit our website, www.thecreditrepairshop.com. We have free membership, we have a paid membership, and we also have a service where we'll do everything for you. Thanks a lot. Till next time.